Let's get into that, huh?
Okay.
What is your process, door to door, from asking guests to come on the show to releasing an episode? And let's do both remote and in person if you can, Sherm. We'd love to know the backstory of how you get an episode from 1 to 100.
Great question, Ramon, and I'm definitely happy to explain this to anybody because it's now a well-oiled machine. It didn't used to be. It was pretty freaking creaky and very difficult and time-consuming. Not to say that the episodes don't take me a long time to put together, but I have a very linear process and I know what I have to do. So let's say I identify a guest, right? I try and give myself as much lead time for questions as I possibly can because I really like to do my research. That's super, super important to me. So depending on the guest, depending how big of a discography they have, depending on how long they've been in the game, whatever it might be, I like to give myself at least a month heads up if I can.
Okay.
And I'll back it up too. When it comes to identifying a guest, there are lots of different ways I go about this. It's my own podcast. So I want to talk to people with music that I like. I want to talk to people that I believe are making an impact in the industry. I want to talk to people that I believe are someone that the world needs to know, whatever it might be. So how I find those guests, a lot of time at this point, been in the game for about 7 years. I'd like to think I have a pretty good finger on the pulse. I've seen a lot of artists blow up over the years, so they've been able to help me make connections. One of the unique things that I do that I'll share with people, and this is a great way to make connections, you go to their Instagram page and you see who they're following. And right at the very top, it'll tell you people that you're following. And it is just an amazing feeling for me sometimes when I go to an artist that is what I would consider to be out of reach, right? And I go to, let's just say Sid, for example. I go to Sid's page, right? And I'm like, all right, who do I know that Sid might know where it might be like, okay, like this guy has a podcast. He's had this person on before, right? I go to see who Sid's following. He's following, 10 people that I've had on the past, a few of them personal friends, stuff like that, right? If I feel like it's hard to get a hold of them, which a lot of these bigger guests are, then I will ask for a warm intro via Instagram or if I can see if I can get an email. And I say, hey, I've had these people on the show before. I'd love to get your full story, so on and so forth. Let me know if you're interested, and I'll send you an email with some available dates. And so that's my whole process for landing a guest, you could say. And that's something that a lot of people ask me about too. There's lots of different ways I go about it too. A lot of times they come in person, and it's so much fun for me as well because, like I said, my favorite part of the podcast is interacting with people one-on-one outside of the club.
I love it.
Next up, do my research process. That is one of the most interesting parts to me because it's where I really start to think about the questions that I'm going to ask. And I don't ask the same questions every single time. Sure, we run through people's discography and I ask them about, in general, how they made the song, how did it come together, right? But what I'm really doing is taking it a step deeper. I listen to goddamn every motherfucking song if it's a producer that they've released, and I like to bring it out of them. Hey, your first release that I could find, SoundCloud, 8 years ago. This edit of this track. Wow, how about that, right? It is so much fun for me to see them be like, holy shit, I forgot about that track, right? So that's so much fun for me, and that goes into the discography research process, I call it. When it comes to asking unique questions, I kind of recycle variations of questions that I've asked. Certain things like state of the music industry, if it's an artist, have they changed the way they produce to try and align with social media trends? If it's a producer who switched genres over the years, why did they do that? So now I'm at the interview, right? I am having the interview and I'm having a blast. And a lot of times too, I don't ask all these questions, but the fact that I did that research before gives me kind of like that edge as an interviewer where it might just come out of me. I might totally forget about something that I've read. And man, that's just like one of the best parts about life to me is somebody else saying something to you that ignites a part in your brain that you didn't remember or didn't even know was there. And baby, that's inspiration. So we do the interview. I've got all my content. If it's an in-person interview like you wanted to know, Ramon, I will send all of that raw video and I will process the audio to make it high quality. I'll send it to my video editor, Suzette. Usually give Suzette about 5 to 7 days lead time, although I will say she has gotten a lot shorter than that and has pulled it off. You know you have, Suzette. And I will go through and I'll tell her, hey, here's the clip that I want to use for Monday. Here's the clip I want to use for Wednesday and my second reel or whatever it is, right? Sometimes I have more than that. She'll put it all together for me. I will edit the podcast. I will insert the songs. There's even layers that go deeper there, but I'm not even going to go into that because it's not that interesting. I will release the episode. I will put it out on all the platforms to listen to. My RSS feed goes through SoundCloud. A lot of people have asked me that. I do not use Anchor because I've been doing it longer than Spotify had that service. And release the episode and it's out on everything.
Wow.
So that's kind of the process.
That's a lot of work.
It's a lot. I would say like door to door how long it takes me. If it's a 2-hour interview, including the research and including setting everything and exporting and processing, probably about 5 to 6 hours. Yeah, so it can take me a while, but it's all worth it to me. So good question, Ramon. And if anybody has questions about that process, if you're starting a podcast or even have questions about audio engineering, whatever it might be, let me know. I'm happy to answer those sort of things.
Sherm, once again, I just want to say, for those that don't know, a lot goes on behind the scenes. It just doesn't appear. Sherm in the booth doesn't just happen, right?
It doesn't.
A lot that goes into it.
Right.
And I appreciate that. Again, I was here for episode 100.
You were.
Now, 200, I can taste the difference. It's quality. Michelin star.
Thanks.
Michelin star quality.
Okay.
Cheers.
Another cheers. Thanks, Ramon. Man, do I love Sherm in the booth. Oh, hey, I think you do too. Hope you enjoyed that piece of content. If you're looking for more, make sure to go to my YouTube channel and hit that subscribe button and turn on all notifications so you don't miss any upcoming Sherm in the Booth interviews, live sets, new music, exclusive artist interviews, Sherm's Word, sub-pack reviews, and more. This is your one-stop shop for everything entertainment. Cheers.